Unstable universe, the biggest scripted SMP in the world. Right now it's heading down paths no one fully understands. Some of them could end in tragedy, some of them could change the server forever. And if you look back at Unstable's history, one thing becomes clear. Most arcs don't end well. For years, Unstable has been shaped by choices and the consequences that followed. And now, with everything happening at once, the server is closer than ever to splitting into multiple features. So today, I wanna break down every realistic outcome and theory for the Unstable universe's future. Right now, more than ever, Unstable is about power. Everyone wants it and everyone is trying to control it. LettuceK is the clearest example of this. He's the leader of the Law, a faction controlled to save and help the server. But it was all just a manipulation, where the true goal was actually server domination. Lettuce used his influence and power to sacrifice 1000 players, just to frame Wemmbu and Flame as murderers. And after Wemmbu got captured, Lettuce organized the server-wide king election, where the fact that he had one of the server's biggest killers in Law custody gave him a huge advantage. But to ensure that he would still be elected, he organized the Purge, a king candidate event that was supposed to throw Parrot, Lettuce's biggest election threat, away from the race. But despite everything, Parrot survived, he even managed to gain a few hundred votes and the full support of two civilizations, giving him just enough votes to advance in the election. After the Purge ended, Parrot traveled to the Great Sea in the search of Wemmbu, that actually managed to escape Law prison. But again, Lettuce was 2 steps ahead and organized hundreds of lawmen to kill them and stop them from getting to a debate. And still, against all odds, Parrot managed to survive all the traps and the hunters that he sent, and brought up Wemmbu to the debate, where they revealed Lettuce's true intentions and what really happened. But when Lettuce realized he was losing the players, he elected himself as the king of the server until all threats, now including Parrot, were removed. Now that I explained all of that, we can finally talk about the real outcome of the king's arc and what will happen in the future videos. You've probably already noticed Lettuce's real strength, his ability to make decisions, manipulate people, and lie in a way that slowly places him at the top. That's exactly how he ended up leading the leaderboard, until Parrot spoke up. Now with the entire server against Lettuce and against his self-king election, he'll have to pull some crazy lies to gain his trust back, and he might actually do it. In the end of the video, Lettuce threatened Parrot that he'll kill his best friend Theo, who is now captured, unless Parrot agrees and goes to jail. Parrot then responded by saying he should have kept that between them two, and I actually have a few theories about what will happen next. You see, Theo is a top world PvPer, so the fact that he got captured by only 2 lawmen is pretty unlikely. He most probably escaped and Lettuce was just lying in that moment to capture Parrot first. And although he isn't a fighter, Parrot wouldn't allow himself to go to prison and leave the server in Lettuce's hands. He will fight back and disclose more about Lettuce and his true intentions. But let's say that he goes, that Lettuce tricks him and imprisons him. That could still be an outcome, but with someone as smart as Parrot, I don't know a prison that could contain him. Then there's the outcome for Lettuce, where since he got self-elected as the king, he now has full control of the server. But as we already know, this never ends well. So even with him becoming king, his rule wouldn't last forever. Just like Ashrag, he would eventually lose everything, or at least that's what we're meant to believe. Because here's the thing, Ashrag's story might not be over. There are reasons to think that he could return, but that's something for another video. For now, what really matters is who will cause the fall of the Law, and how it will happen. and I think we already have the answer to how that happens. But before that, there's one more outcome people are ignoring. Deputy Ace. He's Lettuce's right-hand man, which means he sees every lie, every manipulation, and every line the law has crossed. And the thing is, Deputy always believed in protecting the server, and we've also seen some moments of doubt coming from him. So if he fully realizes what's going on, he might betray Lettuce and become a mole for Parrot, giving information and clues about what's coming next. And now for the other outcomes. At the end of Parrot's video we're giving a few important clues.
Do we part ways?
Nah. No, dude, I missed you. I really did. I just want to enjoy my loot. I get our loot. Dude, of course. You're my best friend, right?
Alright, yeah, thanks. If this ends up being a massive failure and I do get 0 votes, you can blame it on me.
Hey, that won't happen, bro. You got my vote.
Lettuce, you should have kept this between the two of us.
If you haven't understood yet, Theo is Parrot's friend, and after all he's been through, all the friends he lost along the way, I don't think Parrot will let Theo die. He will do whatever it takes to save his friend, and the only way to do that will be by teaming with Wemmbu. And that's where Wemmbu re-enters the story, because when you really look at Unstable right now, no conversation about its future makes sense without mentioning him. Wemmbu has always been a player whose actions don't stay contained to a single arc, they end up affecting the entire server. The last time things truly went wrong for Wemmbu is when he got captured by the Loud at his weakest possible moment. Framed as a murderer, hunted down and stripped of control, it looked like the Loud finally managed to silence one of its biggest threats, and for a short time it actually worked, but that silence didn't last, because soon after Wemmbu was back, returning to the Great Sea and getting involved once again in a conflict with the Loud, in their attempt to destroy pirate civilization. But because of the Lao's big numbers and gear supplies, they managed to not only kill the last pirates but capture Jaden, their leader. But then Parrot came, who asked Wemmbu for help in the debate, where after they exposed Lettuce, he tried killing him. But luckily Wemmbu saved his in time and survived, getting teleported to a remote location, where Forcevit built him a portal cannon, where after using it alongside his friend Action, he got teleported to the Farlands. There he met Yamato P, an old server player and known exploiter, that because Wemmbu and Egg actually went to the complete opposite direction of the orbital strike cannons, they ventured together into the Farlands to a weird location that had a massive nether portal, which unlike normal ones that take you to the nether, this one teleported them to the underworld, a lost civilization which I'll be talking about in another video. But for now, once they got to the underworld, they chose a different portal that this time teleported them not far from the Farland civilization, where Wemmbu betrayed Yamato and then got in a confrontation with one of the Farland's people. But after beating him, Wemmbu and Egg got to the orbital cannons, and after resetting them and setting a stasis there to get back easier next time when they ran out of strikes, they went through an end portal and the video ended. But before talking about the outcomes, I want to address a pretty serious problem. Because if you ever tried running a Minecraft server yourself, you already know how fast lag and bad performance can ruin everything. And that's where MineHoster comes in. It's a modern, optimized server host that supports pretty much any mods or data packs you can think of, and it actually runs smoothly. Setup takes seconds, performance is solid, and it doesn't randomly die when people join. So if you're thinking about starting a server, check them out. Use the link in my description and the code KingTech-10 at checkout to get 10% off. And now we can talk about the outcomes. The obvious one is that in his future video, because Minute gave the end away, Wemmbu will have to fight Lawman protecting it to get to the overworld, and once he'll return to the main server, because remember that this is still someone who literally kills for fun. And after everything the Law has done to him, Wemmbu won't stop at only beating Lettuce. He'll try to take down the Lao entirely, but doing that alone will be pretty difficult, even with the orbital cannons, so we might end up seeing another alliance between Wemmbu and Flame, and once the Lao is gone, maybe even a rematch for the fight Wemmbu lost. And that's why, to understand what Unstable is heading towards next, we have to talk about Flame. Because as he said,
I'm known as the Immortal Demon.
And because of that, he's currently being trained to become a combat master, and that changes everything. After the 2 versus 1000 fight, the Lao didn't see Flame as just another enemy anymore. He became a threat that had to be removed. Bounties were placed, players were sent after him, and eventually Flame was exiled, forced hundreds of thousands of blocks away from spawn, cut off from the rest of the server. But even exile wasn't enough. Even that far out, Flame was still being hunted. Lao members kept tracking him down, proving that no matter how far he ran, the Lao wouldn't stop hunting until he was either captured or killed. And that's when Flame realized something important. Running and hiding wasn't gonna save him anymore. The only way out was to become strong enough that the Lao couldn't touch him anymore. That's why Flame chose to train, not to win single fights but to end the Lao completely. His first training was with Swipe, where Flame mastered the shield, learning how to survive overwhelming pressure, control fights, and turn defense into dominance. After that came Maimpier, where he trained with the spear, mastering range, timing, and little precision. And now it's Real Me, the current second best PvPer in the world, which taught him the maze. These weren't random lessons, each one directly answered the weakness the Lao had exploited while hunting him. And the most important part is that Flame isn't done. He still has one more combat style to master, hard PvP. Unluckily for us, in the end of his latest video, he mentioned he knew where to find his trainer and proceeded to show us a montage of the spawn election area, which brings us to the conclusion that the one who will teach him card is no other than Theo, Perez's friend. But he's not training to specialize single kits, he's training to master every combat style possible. His goal is to become a true combat master, someone who doesn't just survive Unstable, but reshapes it. And when Flame will be done, things won't just go back to normal. One possible outcome is that Flame becomes the perfect weapon against the Lao, a player who doesn't rely on numbers, propaganda, or control, but pure skill, someone the Lao can't exile, can't hunt, and can't silence. Another outcome is even more dangerous. Flame might have no interest in choosing sides at all. After being hunted, exiled, and forced to rebuild himself from nothing, he could decide that Unstable itself is the real problem. In that scenario, he wouldn't be there to save the server, but to become its perfect villain. However, based on everything we've seen over the years, this outcome is less likely. Flame has always worked the best as a mercenary, taking orders and fighting for a purpose, rather than acting on his own. And then there's the final possibility. Flame doesn't return alone, because wherever Flame goes next, Spoke won't be far behind. Spoke is the one who steps in when power systems collapse, when the Lao loses control, and when order starts breaking down. And Flame's return might be the exact moment that forces Spoke to act. And that's why, to understand what Unstable is heading towards next, we have to talk about Spoke. His history this season has been defined by pressure, paranoia, and now obsession. From the very beginning, he's been hunted, stalked, and constantly targeted. At first, that paranoia showed itself emotionally. When Spoke believed Maypeak was dead, completely lost control. He was ready to nuke Capital City just to force answers out of the server. Even after discovering Maypeak was alive, the damage was already done. He attacked his own friends, turned on Yamato, and began seeing betrayal everywhere. By that point, Spoke wasn't thinking rationally anymore. He was acting out of fear and distrust. But now that instability has evolved into something more dangerous. In his newest video, Spoke doesn't run anymore. He goes on the offensive, using exploits and game-breaking mechanics. He starts hunting Leo, the leader of Bat. In the end, Spoke, Maypick and Zam fight him directly, and just when Leo is about to die, he stasis out and lived. But Spoke didn't stop there. Using an arrow exploit, Spoke located Leo's hidden stasis chamber. The plan was simple: find his pearl and ban Leo permanently. And if that had worked, Spoke would have been almost free. But then something went wrong. While traveling to Leo's stasis location, Spoke, Maypick and Zam are suddenly teleported into their own stasis chamber that they built earlier. And that moment changes everything, since now the future of his arc splits into several dangerous paths. One possible outcome is Spoke breaking free and finishing what he started. If he escapes the stasis trap and finds Leo's pearl, he could permanently eliminate the Bat leader. In that future, Spoke will finally recover his freedom and will reunite with his other friends. But then there's the unknown player. While exploring the Bat's stash, Spoke, Maypick and Zam saw signs of a recent fight and concluded that someone was trying to take out Leo as well. That same mysterious figure later helped Spoke locate Leo's location, but then Spoke ended up trapped. That's not a coincidence. One outcome is that this player is Yamato P, Spoke's former friend, the one he tried to kill in the Farlands, the one who understands exploits just as well as Spoke does. If Yamato is involved, then this is about revenge. In that future, Yamato could be manipulating both sides, helping Spoke get close enough to Leo while secretly preparing to trap Spoke himself, turning Spoke's own tactics against him, and proving that he's not the only one who knows how to break Unstable. And then there's the final outcome. Spoke's mental instability finally gets to him and his goal changes into becoming an unstoppable villain. In that future, Spoke doesn't try to win Unstable, he'll try to prove it was never stable to begin with. Every exploit will become a weapon, and every rule something to bend or break. And that's where his story starts overlapping with something even more dangerous. Because if Unstable hides mechanics that don't follow normal rules, mechanics that lag the server, destabilize worlds, and react just by existing, Spoke isn't the type of player to avoid that. He wouldn't contain it, he'll push it. This was all for today. Unstable is at a point where every decision matters, and any of these paths could completely change the server. Whatever happens next won't be small. If you have stayed until this point and enjoyed watching this video, please consider subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything, but it motivates me to keep making better videos.